"Ma'am, you can't enter without an ID," she said coldly. I frowned. "I've worked here for a year." She shook her head. "You're not in our system." People stared, and then my supervisor walked past me like I was a complete stranger. "My name is Rachel Bennett. I'm 33 years old, and that morning, standing in the lobby of the building I had shown up to every single day for over a year, I felt something I hadn't felt since I was a little girl. Invisible. I'm an office coordinator at a mid-sized company. Nothing flashy, nothing glamorous, but it was mine. I grew up being the quiet one, the responsible one, the one who handled everything while my younger sister got the applause just for walking into the room. I learned early that effort doesn't always get noticed, so I stopped waiting for people to clap and started building something on my own. This job was that something. It was my proof that I was capable, that I mattered, that I wasn't just background noise in someone else's story. I wasn't rich, I wasn't the loudest voice in the room, but I showed up. Every single day I showed up. I wasn't glamorous or gifted in the ways people celebrate, I used to tell myself, but I never gave up, no matter how invisible I felt. If you've ever given your absolute best and still been looked through like glass, hit that subscribe button right now. Have you ever poured yourself into something only to feel like no one even noticed you were there? Tell me your story in the comments below. Click hype and let's keep going. I walked up to the front desk calmly. I told the receptionist there had to be a mistake. I explained my role, my department, even the name of my direct manager. She didn't blink. She picked up the phone instead, and within 2 minutes, a security guard was standing beside me. The air in that lobby smelled like cold recycled air and fresh printer paper, the same smell I had walked into every morning, but suddenly it felt foreign, wrong. My manager arrived, and for 1 second I felt relief wash over me. He knew me, he would fix this. He looked at me for one long moment. "I think you're mistaken," he said flatly. "We've never hired you." My stomach dropped straight through the floor. I looked around at coworkers I had eaten lunch with, people I had helped with their own workload for months. Not one of them would meet my eyes. HR was called. They told me with straight faces that no records existed, no employee ID, no payroll history, no contract, nothing. I pulled out my phone to show them my work emails. My account had been deactivated. The app just spun and spun. Security walked me out through the front door while people whispered behind their hands. And as I passed the hallway toward my old workspace, I caught a glimpse of someone else sitting at my desk, doing my exact job like I had never existed at all. I tried calling my coworkers that evening. One by one, the calls went unanswered. Some numbers I tried were no longer active. The silence was louder than any argument. I went back to the building the next morning, not to cause a scene, just to get answers. The security guard recognized me immediately this time, not with a friendly nod, but with a firm warning, "Don't come back here again." A former colleague reached me through a mutual contact. I thought, finally, someone willing to talk, but what she said made my chest tighten with a different kind of pain. "Rachel, honestly, you're acting like something was done to you. Maybe you just imagined the whole thing." I hung up before I said something I couldn't take back. My family wasn't much better. My sister, always quick with an opinion, shrugged and said, "Maybe you just messed up somehow." No one asked my side. No one sat down and said, "Tell me what happened." I started questioning my own memory in the dark hours of the night. Maybe I misunderstood something. Maybe I had made it all bigger in my head. But then I would remember the exact texture of my keyboard, the sound the office printer made when it jammed on Tuesdays, the name of the woman who always left her coffee cup in the wrong cupboard. I had been there. I knew it. Then the legal letter arrived. The company accused me of harassment and trespassing. They were not confused. They were not mistaken. They were deliberate. Someone had intentionally erased every trace of my existence inside that building. The confusion I had been feeling burned away. What replaced it was cold and clear. Anger. Then something stronger, determination. "I know what I did there," I said out loud to no one in my empty apartment. "I know I wasn't invisible." What they didn't know was that I had kept everything. It was just a habit I had developed years ago, a quiet kind of insurance. I saved copies of important files. I kept archived emails on a personal drive. I had recorded notes from key meetings stored in folders they would never think to look for. I had proof that I worked there, and more than that, I had records of something else entirely. A few months before all of this, I had noticed some unusual financial entries while processing routine documents, numbers that didn't align, approvals that looked like they had been backdated. I hadn't understood it fully at the time. Now, sitting on my floor surrounded by printed files, it all clicked into place. They thought I was forgettable, but I had something they couldn't erase. I reached out to someone I trusted completely, a mentor from a job I had held years earlier, a woman who had always taken me seriously when no one else did. She answered on the second ring, and I told her everything. She didn't hesitate for a single second. "If they went this far to erase you," she said quietly, "it means you saw something they needed to keep hidden." She connected me with a legal advisor within the week. Together, the three of us began organizing every document, every email, every recorded note into a structured, undeniable case. Meanwhile, the company posted new job openings online, updated their team page, and smiled for photos at an internal event. They looked completely untouchable, confident, already victorious. I watched from a distance and said nothing. I just kept building. The legal meeting was held in a conference room with gray walls and the low hum of fluorescent lights overhead. The company's executives walked in looking relaxed, like this was a minor inconvenience they were about to dismiss in 20 minutes. My advisor opened a folder and placed the first document on the table. The room changed. Emails surfaced showing my employment records had been deliberately deleted. Files revealed that the financial irregularities I had noticed were tied to a wider internal fraud scheme. Recordings confirmed that senior staff had coordinated the cover-up after I had unknowingly accessed sensitive data. My advisor looked across the table and said evenly, "You didn't just erase her, you tried to erase your tracks." The silence in that room was a different kind from the one I had been living in. This one had weight. I looked at the person who had been sitting at my desk, now pale and rigid in that chair. A piece of the scheme, not an innocent replacement. I spoke clearly and without anger. "You made me feel like I didn't exist, but I was the only one in that building actually paying attention." No one had a response that held up. The company faced a formal legal investigation. Internal records were subpoenaed. The executives who had sat across from me so confidently were no longer comfortable in their chairs. My name was formally cleared. Every record of my employment was restored. But I didn't go back. I stood outside that building one last time and made the choice to walk in a different direction. Not because I had lost, but because I had already won the only thing that mattered. I knew who I was. My family came around, eventually, quietly and without much fanfare, the way people do when they realize they were wrong but can't quite find the words. My sister called. It was a short conversation. It was enough. I started rebuilding from a place I had never stood before. Not just employed, not just surviving, but certain. Certain of my own value in a way no one could hand me and no one could take away. They erased me once, but they will never forget me again. Have you ever been pushed out, looked through, or made to feel like you simply did not matter? Share your story in the comments. I genuinely want to read it. Subscribe if you've ever been underestimated by the people who should have known better. Click hype to help this story reach someone who needs to hear it tonight. Did this one hit close to home? Like the video, leave your thoughts below, and share it with someone who has ever had to fight just to be seen. Your support means more than you know.